Okay, so let's begin. I am Shalaka Parab, a heart and lung warrior like many of you here, welcoming you all on behalf of Pulmonary Hypertension India. PHI is a patient support and educational platform created exclusively for pulmonary hypertension patients and run exclusively by the same patients. We are not affiliated to or sponsored by anyone. We are a total patient force. Our session should not be construed as or considered a replacement for professional medical advice. When in doubt, please always talk to your doctors. This is our second family time session, a discussion forum where patients and families join together to share their experiences, worries, and connect with their larger family. Today's topic is heart-lung transplants and how we can plan and prepare for one. Transplants are still the only known cure for pulmonary hypertension, unfortunately. The process of getting one transplant is often fraught with uncertainties. We are unfortunately forced to make crucial decisions with very little guidance in a very short period of time. The medical establishments too have their limitations in counseling patients and their caregivers. In such situations, the patients and the families, the caregivers, are the ones who we can rely on. And these are the ones who have already traveled this road and are therefore our best guides and companions. Today, we are joined by three lovely transplant warriors and the very loving families who will share their experiences with us. I will be interviewing each family one at a time. And after we have spoken to all three families, we will open for audience questions. So let me start with the first family now.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi,
Hello.
Millie.
Hello.
Okay, so let me introduce Millie and her family here today. She's a first warrior and she's here with her parents. 23-year-old Millie, Millie Vakilna. She's a very sweet, very brave, talented girl from Mumbai. She's joined today by her parents, Prashant and Rupal Vakilna. And before I tell you more about Millie, let me introduce the parents. Prashantji is a senior corporate executive in a construction company, and Rupal ji is the rock of the family, the homemaker, and Millie's biggest support. Millie was diagnosed with a ventricular septal defect, also called a VSD, which was closed when she was only 2 years old. She eventually developed pulmonary hypertension, and by 2018, she was in end-stage heart failure. She was only 19 at that time when she was in end-stage heart failure. She underwent a double lung and heart transplant in Chennai in 2019. She's a hotel management graduate who also loves to read, cook, and color. And I can vouch for the fact that she's a very, very creative person. So Millie, welcome to family. Millie, are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Shalaka.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the good introduction.
You're most welcome, most welcome. I'm going to ask you a few questions and please answer as much as you can. Let's start.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first question is to both the parents, mom and dad. At what point in her VSD-PH journey did the doctor recommend a heart-lung transplant? Was it towards the very end?
It was, I think, 2016 when our cardiologist suggested that you may require this kind of a surgery, but he was not sure when to do it. So, it was an indication was given to us in 2016 by our cardiologist.
Okay, got it. And Millie is your only daughter.
Yes, she is my only daughter.
Right, the apple of your eyes. And she being an end-stage heart failure, and you were told that it's transplant or nothing else, right? At some point, no other choice. So when you go through those days, what did you go through? Because I want someone like you all to talk about it, because there are other parents here who have also joined us, and they are probably going to go through this stage at some point. So what did you all go through? What was that phase like? And how did you prepare yourself mentally?
Yeah, the thing was that when in 2016 we were being told that might be only one alternative possible for her to survive, we were little bit shaken up. The entire family was shaken up, means myself, my wife, and daughter. so that because every assured has to go undergo this thing. Then we have approached so many doctors in Mumbai itself, because we are at Mumbai.
Right.
So the doctors were in a dual this opinion that you may require regularly now or maybe later on, but it is sure that you may have to go for.
What kind of discussions did you all have at home? And what kind of discussion did
We
you have
had a
with Millie at that
discussion.
point?
We had a discussion whether we should go or not go, because that was a very this uncommon topic in the medical faculty at that point of time. It was
Right.
only in Mumbai we have heard only the heart transplants are done, and even for that we were not even sure what are the results and outcome of it.
Right. And until then, you probably didn't even know that a lung transplant is also required for pulmonary hypertension, right?
No, but the lung transplant story became only when we went for the assessment of the heart transplant.
Right. Right. That must have come as a shock to you.
Yeah, it was a shock at that point of time when we met the doctors.
Right.
And they suggested that not only heart transplant is required, but her lungs also need to be transplanted.
So double whammy there.
Yeah, both the lungs.
Yes. Yes. Millie, what kind of a headspace were you in? You were so young, just about done with your teens, but so young and vulnerable.
Yeah. So what happened was, I was kind of in my third year of graduation, like the main thing, I was going to graduate. And it was so sudden that it was like my doctor said, it's a mild heart failure and now stop everything, just sit at home, don't do anything. And my condition was such that walking even 10 meters was very difficult. So obviously there were a lot of alterations happening. So I had to take aid of teddy bear therapy. I had to take aid of color therapy. I'd like to show you my teddy
Yes,
bears.
we want to see your teddy bears.
So
they are part of your support system, right?
Yeah, these are my family. So these are my teddy bears. I take them everywhere. They've come to Chennai also with me.
What are their names and why are they in a plastic box?
So I'll show you okay. So this pink one is Alex. This
Hi,
one
Alex.
Hi. And this one is Looney. This was actually gifted to me by I can say a transplant. He's a friend now. So his father underwent a transplant when I was in Chennai. So he gifted this one to me.
What's the name?
Her name is Looney.
Looney. Okay. Hi. And the third one?
So this is Alex. This is the middle one is Alexia, and this one is Looney.
Alexia. Okay. Hi, Alexia. And why are they in a box, Millie? We want to know.
Okay, so
why they are in the box, let me tell you, this was because the doctor recommended not to have any fur kind of a thing in the front of her after the surgery and other things. The doctor advised you better keep them in a bag so that the fur cannot be inhaled by her through the nose or other things.
They can transmit infections.
Correct. So post-transplant patients have to be very careful about
very careful for this inhalation of anything.
One more thing, this kept me going. I don't know if you can see it.
This is your art, yes.
That's my art. I used to color a lot back then. So I think seeing colors, seeing different things helped me to calm down at that moment. So I never took any antidepressant medicines or anything. But
no psychologists, no therapy, no.
This is the only therapy that I have in my parents.
Okay. मेरी वैसे भी बहुत strong girl है, सच में
हाँ वो पता है, हाँ 100%, 100%.
और positive, सबसे ज़्यादा तो important है positive रहना.
Correct, absolutely, I agree.
हम लोगों में है तो मतलब सब अच्छा.
Oh God, you're breaking. Are you back, Millie? You were breaking in between. Millie?
Okay.
Okay. Now we can hear you. Okay. So another question to the parents. How did you decide on your transplant team? Considering बहुत ही कम resources है, कम contacts है, but how did you decide on that?
See,
First
now,
we go to Chennai.
see, thing is that in Bombay we have visited 2-3 places, but they told us that we have not done yet any lung transplant because she needs a lung transplant also. So you better go to different places. So we tried at Florida, at Boston also, but they were so costly that it was beyond our reach. Then we have tried somebody in Hyderabad also. Then that Hyderabad doctor said he also has done only the heart transplant, not the lung transplant. Then somebody told us.
This was in 2019, right?
Yeah, no,
18.
2018.
18, correct. Sorry. Yeah.
But in 2018, when we have decided to go for a transplant. So, but this up-country's correspondence and other things was there for 17 onward, because in 16 we came to know that we require this thing. So our first preference was that to go for abroad for like Singapore or at the US, but there it was not feasible costing.
Very expensive.
It's quite expensive, and they were not given us any clear idea that how long we have to be there. They said you come down over here, then only we will be able to tell you how long it will be. So going in such a ruined thing, it will be difficult, no? So we decided to went to Chennai for this post-transplant assessment. No,
Pre-transplant assessment.
Yeah, pre-transplant.
Correct.
Pre-transplant assessment. So when we went there, that time the doctor suggested that she required not only the heart transplant, but the bilateral lung is to be done now.
So 3 organ transplant.
Lung capacity is also reduced.
Right.
You have to do that.
So how long did this process take? About a few months?
We were having in our hand at least only 5 to 6 months to decide to go for a transplant.
Okay.
Because it was such a severe condition at that point of time in 2018.
Right. Okay. And did you face any troubles during the transplant evaluation phase, or was it easy, the listing and all? The hospital themselves, they helped you?
This hospital at Chennai, this assessment for transplant was at least a 4 days procedure was there, but we were not having that much length of the time, so we said please cover it within 3 days. So
Okay.
they cooperated us, and they have done it within the 3 days.
This was because Millie was quite critical at that time?
Yeah. She was critical, and I was working, so I had just a vacation period. So we went there for assessment. So earlier when we have communicated from Bombay, they said it may take 2 to 3 days to assess. So we 4 or 5 days, but when we went there, they said you require at least 4 to 5 days. But it was not possible, so they made all the procedure, certain procedures in a day, or in a day they do the 2 procedures.
Right. And which is good. I mean, if they can actually accommodate your requirements and,
Yeah, correct.
especially manage a very critical patient.
They were very cooperative. The team was very cooperative.
Right. No, that's a tremendous thing. And did you need to take Millie by air ambulance, or how did you travel to Chennai?
No. See, actually, we were traveling like a normal passenger only while going to Chennai and coming back from Chennai.
So was she on oxygen at that time?
No. She was not on oxygen anytime.
Okay. So which is good. So you all went at the right time. You all didn't even need to spend on the air ambulance.
I would like to add on, I was on iloprost at that time. So maybe I think that was something that made my condition stable for me to, travel from Mumbai to Chennai and then come back.
It stabilized you for a few days, and then you could manage all these things. Correct. Okay.
And many a times a doctor when they used to see Millie, they used to say how she can survive with such a high heart pressure and this pH.
Doctors also learning from us.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
At Chennai, they were saying that such a high pressure and she doesn't require oxygen and other thing is something what we have not seen yet.
Right. I have actually now seen many patients who don't require oxygen, but their heart is failing and they will probably require many liters of oxygen very soon. So just going through that transplant evaluation process at the right time is very, very critical.
Correct.
Okay. Did Millie receive any counseling from the pre-transplant, the pre-transplant phase?
We did.
As in not
Yeah,
just psychological counseling, financial counseling, nutritional counseling, any other kind of counseling.
Now let me tell you. See, they first do us a financial counseling, then they give Millie a special time to understand the things, what they are going to do, how it can be done, what is to be done, and how long it will take.
Mhm. Right.
Because mine was a reopen
When
surgery.
her was a reopen case because she was being operated for VHD when she was 2 years. And but at the same from the same place they have to open it again and they have to do the transplant of heart and lung both.
Correct.
It means it was a big challenge to the doctor's team also
Right.
of the reopening of the because there is no other place from where they can enter into to do the transplant.
So this is a challenge actually for children with CHDs, congenital heart defects, who have already gone through an open heart surgery, and then a transplant is another open heart surgery kind of a thing. So the challenges are there, right?
This challenge is very much there because the opening of an earlier because a VHD closer opening nowadays, of course, they have the pinhole surgery. But when Billy was done, when Billy was done, that time the pinhole surgery was not available.
Correct. Right.
Nowadays, VHD can be done with the pinhole surgery.
Yes, absolutely.
We did receive counseling about nutrition, about physiotherapy, basically to something that, you know, I had to understand, we all had to understand that I need to keep my body stable, keep my weight on track, eat good food so that I gain a little bit of strength for, you know, walking post-transplant, because walking post-transplant again is very important.
Right. Can you give me one or two examples of what it meant, the nutritional guidance that they gave you?
Okay, sure. So they told me to have a lot of protein. And because I used to have severe edema, I used to have a lot of water in my body. So
Correct,
my
water retention.
intake, so my water intake was limited to just 800 ml, the liquid intake for the entire day.
Okay.
That had to be kept in mind. Eating a lot of protein, and one thing that my doctor told me was eat ghee. Eat lots and lots of ghee, eat lots and lots of paneer. That time I was not eating eggs, so eggs were out of question.
Okay.
Yeah, post-transplant, they did tell me to eat eggs, and I had to eat 8 to 10 eggs in a day.
So you started eating eggs only post your transplant.
Yeah.
And I remember a conversation with you, Millie. One day you told me you're fed up of eggs.
That's the reason I told you. And that was just egg whites, not yolk. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go to my next question. To the parents again. You all had to move from Mumbai to Chennai, and you all were there for quite a few months. So how did that move happen? Kaise plan kiya ye sab?
See, during the counseling, they told us that after the transplant, Millie has to have the separate room so that her hygiene can be kept at upper level. So we were looking out for a 2-bedroom flat or room, something like that, near the hospital, because if we stay far away from the hospital, then it might be possible that suppose some emergencies or something can arise, then we cannot move very fast. So we have searched the room close to the hospital itself. One thing. Second thing, there is a lot of difference between the language between here and the Tamil Nadu.
Correct.
That our main challenge was there to have that this language problem. So we used to have some kind of an our friends or somebody we can talk to him on a conference call
and
to
they would translate.
instruct the local person over there what we require and other.
Right. And did you all find a fully furnished apartment there, or
No,
did you have to rent furniture?
No, we could manage to get a semi-furnished apartment.
Okay.
Because again the cost factors comes in. If we go for a fully furnished flat, they were costing bit more. And again, for the Millie, we don't require a different kind of a furniture.
Right, right.
In Millie's room, there was a minimum furniture, means just a bed, one mattress, then only the bed covers, and no curtain, like that. So, of course, if she doesn't require all these things, then why we should have all that luxury in that?
Correct, correct,
We
right.
had a semi-furnished flat, whereas only the space was required, sufficient space was there.
Okay. And Prashantji, you also had to take a sabbatical from your job and move there?
I used to fly up and down once
Okay.
a week.
My God, once a week.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
During the entire period, I think I must have traveled not less than 15 to 20 times.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
it may so happen that when we got a dummy call in the morning or midnight, I used to travel so available flight at available time and available this thing to Chennai, because I was in Mumbai, because we have to have some no.
Right, right. And how did you manage the food, Rupalji, for Millie?
Yeah.
I want to ask
Sorry?
Rupalji, how did she manage the food?
How
The
did you
food for Millie post-transplant.
ये मैं सब अच्छे से मतलब उसका ध्यान रखती थी और बनाती थी, गरम गरम उसको खाना खिलाती थी, और एवरीथिंग मतलब जो भी सलाद का या कुछ भी है, कुछ रो कुछ भी नहीं, सब बॉईल करके ही देती थी उसको. मॉर्निंग ब्रेकफास्ट, लंच, डिनर और स्नैक, और वो उसमें भी सूप वगैरह भी देती थी, क्योंकि फ्रूट्स अलाउड नहीं था वो टाइम पे, तो फ्रूट्स नहीं देती थी उसको.
अच्छा.
अभी भी मैं उसको वैसा ही जो पहले बोला था डॉक्टर ने वैसा सेम चल रहा है.
Okay, good, good. I want to ask you one last question on this topic. Is it enough to have two people, like Millie had you two over there? Is it enough to have two people with the patient,
No,
or do you need some more help?
what we
No,
were
no.
told was basically keep as many less people as you can near the patient.
Right.
So,
क्योंकि इन्फेक्शन वगैरह
हाँ.
कुछ भी नहीं लगे. मैं अकेली थी, मैं किचन का काम करके मैं क्लोथ चेंज करके उसके रूम में जाती थी. मतलब बहुत ध्यान रखा है मैंने उसका.
Okay.
ऐसा नहीं तो मतलब
You know,
जितना कम है उतना मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि उसके
डॉक्टर
डैड को भी बोला था कि बाद में आप भी मत आया करो, उसको रिजेक्शन आया था तो हम
हाँ,
बोले
हाँ.
सफिशिएंट.
Okay, okay.
I can manage everything.
Okay, okay. Millie, when after this transplant happened and you woke up, and I want to know, how did it feel for you when you opened your eyes?
it was scary, honestly, because I didn't know there were going to be so many tubes running around, and I was in the ICU. I mean, obviously, I felt a little happy that okay, I'm alive.
Yes.
But it was very scary because I had tubes, and when I woke up, there was only one nurse, and she said, "Hi, good to see you," and I was like, "Okay." Obviously, I couldn't talk at that time, but my first thing was I was very scared, and seeing all those machines and all of that. But the good thing was I started walking on the third day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so-
amazing. And your physiotherapy also started immediately?
Yes, yes. They made me sit on the sofa the next day, and then on the third day they said, "Do you want to walk?" I said, "Yeah, okay." Like I just nodded, "Yeah, I'll walk." So,
Okay.
yeah.
But very soon I heard that within the first 2 weeks itself, you had a major scare.
Yeah,
You,
it
you
was
had your first experience with organ rejection.
the
So
first bad
can you quickly
experience.
tell me something about that?
So it was the 14th day. I used to like walk and everything in the morning, but that day, somehow I developed a fever, and my body was totally numb. I was not able to move, and I thought maybe it's just a little bit of weakness that's coming. I'm okay because I didn't feel anything at that time. But then there's one doctor who used to come and visit me every day. He came, he was on the door and he said, "Millie ko theek nahi hai, jaldi sabko bulao." And like literally he just saw me and he said, "She's not fine." So then they took me to the ICU. Then they did a biopsy and they found out that I have antibody mediated rejection. So basically my body, my immune system started attacking my new lungs. So we had to do a treatment for that. And that
Okay.
treatment went around for almost a year.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was very costly.
Very costly.
Very costly. I will come to the cost part very shortly. Abhi, generally, Rupal ji and Prashant ji, how do you take care of Millie? What is your daily thing, like daily act? What is part of her care, daily care, things that you absolutely need to do, no matter what?
Now we are not taking so much
नीली
care of
अपने आप
her.
ही सब करती है.
खुद करती है, which is good.
Yeah, खुद.
Yeah,
और जो
because
नहीं करती है तो हम लोग उसको
earlier,
बोलते हैं.
just after back from the hospital, we used to take care of her medicine timing, because
Okay.
the 2-3 medicines which are there, which were prescribed after the transplant, they supposed to be taken on a net time, and the blood testing of the blood was also crucial. So all that thing we used to take care.
Okay.
But Millie has to-
Regularly.
regularly.
How many medicines are you on, Millie, now?
Around 15 to 18.
Okay. Do you have like phone reminders to take each of
I
them?
have
Yeah,
phone,
yeah.
yeah, I have phone
Tech
reminder
time.
only for one,
Check
which is
Okay.
at 7 in the morning and 7 in the evening. Otherwise, I take all the other medicines on time. But
Okay.
that one medicine, the timing is very, very important.
It's a
Okay,
crucial medicine for
Yeah.
that. It's a crucial medicine for the transplant patient.
Right. Okay. Now let me come to the very crucial part, costs.
Cost.
What was the early estimate given to you? What did you end up spending? What are your monthly costs now?
Now let me tell you, this pre-transplant assessment was around 4.5 to 5 lakhs, and the budget given to us was around 39 lakhs for the transplant.
This is in both heart and lung transplant.
Both
Yeah,
Yeah.
both
Okay.
heart and both lung transplant. The cost given was 39 lakhs, but unfortunately, we were on the trap of this additional medical cost on 14th day, so which has gone again to almost to the same amount of 39 lakhs. And thereafter, after the discharge from the hospital, for the first 6 months, I think 8 months,
8, 9
it was around 2 lakhs per month.
Okay.
because of the treatment that
Because of your organ rejection that happened in the very first few weeks.
Because
Okay.
to sustain the early rejection, to take away the early rejection, the 8 months after the discharge from the hospital, we had to underwent the treatment. That is called IVIG,
Right.
immunoseparator something.
Correct. Okay. And you had family. I know most of that money you spent on your own, but I also heard that there were people from your community, friends and family who helped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, they have
Friends
supported
and-
us very much. See, I have prepared for the transplant, but when the sudden cost occurred to us, then my family, friends, they all came together and they have supported me with the finance. Otherwise,
Okay.
it would have not been possible to raise such a huge amount within a short period of 10-15 days.
Right.
Because
Okay.
that was to be paid to the hospital during the stay over there.
Okay. One last question to the family. How has life changed in general now? And what do you have to say to other families who may go through a transplant in the near future? What is your takeaway message for them?
See, thing is that this bilateral heart and lung transplant is very new to the Indian community. And just because of that, the additional precautions what we take, that will give a gain to the patient or to the family. Because there might be, suppose if we keep on something, then the chances of getting infected to the patient is very high. So what we have been told by our team, doctor's team, that for the first 5 years, he should be taken a very proper care of her hygiene, her movements and everything. her clothing and everything. Matlab nothing to be ignored anywhere.
Okay.
It should be 100% required to the standards. And
Would
food.
you, got it. Prashantji, would you have preferred a lot, some more time to plan and prepare for this on hindsight?
Pardon? I couldn't get you.
Would you have preferred more time for planning and preparing for this?
So no planning as such. If I can tell you, I was doing the financial planning for this unforeseen circumstances for more than 7 years.
Okay. Also because she already had
I
a
was
VST.
gathering the
And...
money for more than 7 years. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
For this
Okay.
unforeseen circumstances, any time can come, but it
Right.
has come up after 7 years.
Okay. Okay.
And I think even emotionally, a family needs to be stable, because going through such a thing is very difficult. Not
Yeah.
just for the patient, but I'm sure even for my parents, it was very difficult.
So first of all three members need to be in the same space mentally,
Yeah.
support each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe also take external counseling if required. Don't shy away from that.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
either doctors can prescribe it or the family can decide on it on their own.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to, Millie, I'm already running out of time. We are going to close this. But before I leave, let Millie go. I'm going to mention that Millie has now started her own business. She's an entrepreneur. She's an extremely creative person. Millie, very quickly tell us about your business. We want to encourage other people to tell them that there is life after transplant.
So I make chocolates at home and greeting cards and bookmarks, and I sell that. Even for Raksha Bandhan, I had made Rakhis.
And what is your Instagram handle?
It's art.by.millie.
Art.by.millie. Okay, people, everyone, please go to art.by.millie and follow her and order from her. She delivers all over India. Even though she's Mumbai based. Thank you so much, Rupal ji, Prashant ji and Millie.
और मैं एक बात जरूर कहना चाहूंगी आपको
हाँ.
कि जो हमारे डॉक्टर्स और उसकी टीम है उसको मैं सैल्यूट करती हूँ. वो लोग मतलब इतने अच्छे और कोऑपरेटिव थे. मतलब जितने भी इधर मुंबई के भी डॉक्टर्स, चेन्नई के भी डॉक्टर्स जो भी हमको मिले ना, बहुत 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 अच्छे थे. और फैमिली फ्रेंड सबका सपोर्ट था तो मिली.
It takes a village to
मैं थैंक्स बोलना चाहती हूँ.
do this. It's not a one-man show. It's not a one family show. It takes everybody to support a transplant warrior.
It's a cumulative effort which has come out.
क्योंकि डॉक्टर्स और उसकी टीम तो हमारे फैमिली जैसे ही थे एकदम. Family.
Right. Kudos to the doctors. I hope they've joined us today or will watch this video at some point.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Millie and family.
Thank you so much.
I will now speak to the next family, Shraddha Jadhav and her mom and her sister-in-law. Yes. So after my conversation with Millie and her family, we now have yet another very jovial, fun and carefree soul, 33-year-old Shraddha Jadhav, also from Mumbai. Shraddha joins us today with her indomitable mother, Meeraji, and her sister-in-law, who is also her best friend, Sarita Jadhav. Meeraji is an advocate. She's a working woman, and she has been a single mother to her children for many years. Sarita is into event operations at an MNC. Meeraji's, Sarita and her brother and Shraddha's brother all moved to the new city where Shraddha underwent a heart-lung transplant. Shraddha was diagnosed with idiopathic PH in 2015, and by 2020, she was into severe right heart failure. So her progression was pretty fast. Shraddha underwent the heart-lung transplant in Hyderabad in December 2020. Shraddha is a very fun-loving person. She loves traveling. She's also a very creative person like Millie. And recently, she has become a professional baker. Shraddha and family, welcome. And thank you for doing this with us today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let me ask you all some questions. Meeraji, after Shraddha's diagnosis in 2015, were you told at that time that she may require a transplant?
No, at that time it was not told by any doctors that she will be required the transplant in future.
अच्छा, तो कोई preparation हुआ नहीं आपका?
It was not prepared. Suddenly, when she was diagnosed, means that her heart is failure in June, June 2020. So suddenly we know that that our cardiologist has told that her transplant is to be needed. So only we got the 15 days time only. So it was very sudden, shocking to us.
15 days. My God.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And this was during the first phase of COVID.
Yes.
So
it was
even more
locking-
complications,
Yes. It was
logistics and
yes,
everything
yes.
to manage. Okay.
It was
Okay.
locking period only.
Okay. Okay. Shraddha, this question is to you. When you were told that, now you may have to transplant, what kind of a mental space were you in? And what kind of discussions did you all have with the family internally?
When I came to know about it, I was very chill because I didn't know what all is going to be there.
Okay.
But after the evaluation, during evaluation, there was a test called as right heart catheterization. So that test was very much painful.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, it was very painful.
Okay.
So, and after that test, I was like, I don't want to do transplant.
Okay. So it was the evaluation process that scared you. Until then, ignorance was
Until
bliss.
then, I was like, okay, jo hoga dekha jayega. I was like that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
after evaluation, I was like, I don't want to do it.
Then what convinced you? Why? What made you change your mind?
But then I guess that was the ultimate thing I had to do to save my life. So I had to go for it.
The survival instinct kicked in.
And doctor also told that that is the means option that you will get a decent lifestyle.
Also, I was on oxygen. So
You were on how many liters of oxygen by then?
starting, I was on 2 liters of oxygen. But even doing household activities was very difficult for me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like while going to washroom and coming back, I would need to put my oxygen bags immediately.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was very difficult.
Okay.
Also, my BP used to be very low. My condition
Very, very
was
low. Okay. Okay.
deteriorating.
Okay. Did you go through any counseling at this point in time?
No, earlier I didn't go, but after evaluation, when they saw me, they thought that I might require a counseling. But I
It's a
guess
psychological counseling you're talking about?
psychological counseling. But then it didn't help me at all. I guess talking to my friends more helped me.
Correct. Just like Millie relied on her teddy bears, her art, you relied on your friends.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. And what about the family? Meera ji, aapne kabhi counseling li, therapy li, because you must have gone through all kinds of stress, right?
No, means there was no counseling prior to the transplant or means like that. Means only we came. Means doctor has told that she will be doing the means good life ahead, and therefore that she required the transplant. And that oxygen will be removed. She will go anywhere and she can move anywhere.
Okay.
Doctors are telling that we can go anywhere. But then there are so much restrictions, we cannot even step out of the house.
And because of COVID, there are extra
COVID,
restrictions.
that is also one of the reasons.
Yes, yes. Maybe very soon, in a few months, this COVID mess is over and you can actually, go travel to your favorite destination.
Yes, and
I really hope you do that because I know she's a travel freak.
Yes,
She loves that. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Meera ji, how did you all choose a transplant team for Shraddha? Aapka kya process tha? Did you have to call up many doctors, go and see many doctors?
Yes, we have. हम लोगों ने बहुत सारे डॉक्टर्स को भी मींस कंसल्ट किया है, सेकंड ओपिनियन भी लिया. जब भी वो मींस इन जून 2020 में जब भी एडमिट थी तभी डॉक्टर ने हमको बोला था कि ट्रांसप्लांट करना पड़ेगा. देन आई हैव कॉन्टेक्टेड सो मेनी डॉक्टर्स. यस, रियली शी इज रिक्वायर्ड द ट्रांसप्लांट. कि डॉक्टर ने भी बोला उसका रिपोर्ट है बिकॉज हर मी राइट हार्ट फेल्यूर 30% ओनली राइट दैट इट वाज वर्किंग. So therefore the doctor told that means she required the transplant, heart and lung transplant. Previously only lungs ka she was having problem of lungs only. Okay. But then thereafter when the sonography वगैरह सब टेस्ट किए उस टाइम ऐसा लगा कि उसका हार्ट का भी ट्रांसप्लांट करना पड़ेगा.
अच्छा तो फिर
हाँ, so then जो भी फ्रेंड्स हैं जिन्होंने भी ट्रांसप्लांट किए थे ऐसे बहुत सारे जो भी ये थे पेशेंट्स थे उनको मतलब मैंने कांटेक्ट किया. मींस हाउ इज द लाइफ, what is the whether any means risk is there. तो सबने मतलब अच्छा पॉजिटिव रिप्लाई दिया कि there is no problem, you can go ahead and the life is also very good after the transplant. ये सब देखने के बाद then we have decided. हम लोगों ने उसको भी बोला नहीं था तब तक, ठीक है, ट्रांसप्लांट करना पड़ेगा. It was suddenly,
Okay.
because we have not been, means still we take a decision, we have not informed her
Okay.
that means she is needed the transplant करके. और
अच्छा.
हम लोग जब भी हैदराबाद भी गए तभी उसको बोला ही नहीं था, मतलब जस्ट वी हैव टू टेक सम टेस्ट, खाली टेस्ट ही करना है थोड़ा, फिर हम लोग आएंगे वापस. देन फिर वहां पे हॉस्पिटल में हम लोगों ने उसको बोला कि थोड़ा अपने को ट्रांसप्लांट करना पड़ेगा, ऐसा जस्ट.
आप लोग हैदराबाद कैसे गए? बाय रोड गए थे या बाय एयर?
हम लोग बाय रोड ही गए थे, ठीक है. इट वाज अ लॉकडाउन
ऑक्सीजन के साथ और सब जाना
हाँ.
था. हाँ.
ऑक्सीजन भी था साथ में, ऑक्सीजन शी वाज ऑन ऑक्सीजन, तो ऑक्सीजन वगैरह लेके गए हम लोग साथ में.
फिर आप जब गए उधर, आप उधर ही रह गए या वापस आए? और फिर
हाँ,
वापस
हम लोग 10 डेज वहां पे रहे इवैल्यूएशन, बिकॉज हम लोगों ने कुछ बाकी का जो कॉस्ट रहता है ट्रांसप्लांट का, वो कुछ इतना उस टाइम ज्यादा मालूम नहीं था. फिर बाद में वहां पे हमको मालूम पड़ा कि इतना द कॉस्ट है, और फिर बाकी जो भी एक्सपेंसेस वी हैड टू मैनेज. उस टाइम तो हमारे पास मींस देयर वाज नो फंड एट दैट टाइम, so just we went there for evaluation, and really it is required lung and heart, or only lung transplant will be there, so इसके लिए हम लोग वहां पे गए.
And then आपको पता चला कि now you have to move to a new city for a few months, maybe up to a year, right? तो वो सब कैसे गया आपका प्रोसेस, moving to the new city? आप चारों लोग गए ना उधर?
चारों
हाँ, even Sarita had to move. Sarita and her husband had to move. So how was that process?
एक्चुअली हम लोग मतलब पूरा फैमिली शिफ्ट हो गए. दैट इज अ न्यू सिटी. हैदराबाद में पूरा तेलुगु वगैरह ज्यादा है, तो इट वाज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, बट इट वाज वी कैन मैनेज इन हिंदी आल्सो, सो इट वाज नॉट वेरी मच प्रॉब्लम. आवर मींस अकोमोडेशन वाज नियर टू द हॉस्पिटल ओनली, एंड हम चारों वहां पे गए क्योंकि मैं अकेली नहीं रह सकती थी, और वो दोनों मुझे भी हेल्प चाहिए था.
वो सपोर्ट आपको भी चाहिए.
बहुत सारा हेल्प सपोर्ट किया है. तो
बहुत चीजें होती है इवन ड्यूरिंग द लॉजिस्टिक्स.
एक उसका मतलब केयर करे, बाकी के बाहर का कोई मेडिसिन लाना है, ये लाना है, या फिर डॉक्टर के पास जाना है, या कुछ भी करना है, तो मतलब सब पूरा फैमिली चाहिए था, ऐसा है.
मीरा जी, you were working back then and you had to quit your job or take a sabbatical?
Yes, I have taken a gap now.
Okay.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And this is a question to Shraddha. How did you feel immediately after your transplant? The same thing I asked Millie, like when you woke up, how was it? First, obviously, maybe glad that you're alive.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, finally.
Oh yeah, yes, done.
Yeah, it's done.
Her
And
willpower is very strong actually. When she was taken to that operation theater, she was with smiling face, and she saw brother. Yes, तो आला का एकदम मुझे.
Because it was overnight that
he was not there, no.
Yeah.
So suddenly she said, yes, so you came, so like that. And she was very cheerful mind.
So he came when they called her up, ki organs available hai.
Actually, we had gone to Mumbai for some work.
Okay.
And then we suddenly got a call, so we
Suddenly.
had to come back.
So we both
Okay.
were there only
So
at
only
that
me
time.
and mom were there at home when we got a call.
Shraddha, I heard you didn't have to wait too long for the organs, right? How
Yeah, it
long did you
was
have to wait from the
1 month, 10 days, 15 days. something.
Okay, that's really good. Okay, so that was a quick process for you. Okay. Tell me about your Shraddha, did you want to say anything about after waking up? How did you?
I remember I had yawned for the first time after 9 days of the
Really?
transplant. Yeah. So like they say that your senses takes time to develop. So that is the first thing I observed.
Okay.
It took 9 days for me to yawn.
And did you have like a quick recovery? You also started walking very quickly,
Yeah,
and
I started, the physiotherapy started after 4 days, I guess. Third
Okay.
or fourth day itself.
okay. And you didn't have any scares in the ICU, right? No rejection infections in the very first few days. Okay, good. All right. Now
She was having fever
Okay.
after 8 days or like that. So
Okay.
but
but it didn't worsen into anything.
it was recovered afterwards.
Okay, so in how many days did you come home from the
20
hospital?
20
20 days. And how many days were you in the ICU?
9 days.
Okay, so 9 days in the ICU, then outside, and then home in 20 days.
Yeah.
Okay. And tab tak, Meera ji, you had kept her room and everything ready in the new house?
Yes, we are sanitized and sub all that fumigation, air condition, all means uska jo bhi बेडशीट्स और ये जो भी सब पूरा क्लीन बाथरूम वगैरह सब एकदम क्लीन, नीट एंड क्लीन वगैरह सब करते थे हम लोग.
Okay, okay. All right. Abhi,
We cleaned every 2 days, like at the start,
okay.
post the surgery.
All right. Now, what is your general post-transplant, like post-transplant phase? What is your general day like? You know, what kind of care do you all take?
Cleaning
You
still
shall know.
remains there. Like every 4 days, 5 days, we get the whole room deep cleaned for sure. So her room curtains and all are changed every 5 days, and windows are normally closed only. And bathroom and all तो every 3-4 days होता ही है उसका ऐसे 4 days के अंदर होता ही है every 4 days.
We wear the mask also when we are entering the room.
Yeah.
And do you go out, Shraddha? Not yet.
Not
Not even, acha, matlab, band gaadi mein bhi nahi.
Doctors.
Only
Sorry?
to the doctors.
Only to the doctors and the hospital visits.
Okay, and I want to mention here that Shraddha recently finished 1 year of her transplant, and congratulations on your first transplant, firstly.
Thank you.
You've crossed a major milestone with that. Okay, Meera ji and Sarita ji, let me talk a little bit about the costs. How much did it cost you? What was the initial estimate? And how did the hospital help you in raising these funds?
Yes, yes. The hospital has helped a lot because when we went for evaluation, means that team, there is one coordinator is there. He has told about the fund. So then we have arranged. We have also contacted Keto because at that time, all on lockdown period, we are also financial conditions also not so good. So we have contacted Keto. They have arranged the operation fund, and other fund means whatever is there, that is arranged by our family, friend, and means lot of her friends, my son and daughter-in-law's his family. They have arranged a lot of funds for us.
Everybody helped you.
It was a means family cooperation.
It
Very
was like
good.
friends, family. So
Her friends
my
also, her
mom's
friends
friend.
also very cooperative.
Yeah.
My friends, her friends, means son's friend, daughter-in-law's friends, her family. So very means they are very cooperated and they will supported in such our period.
Meera ji, I remember seeing a video of yours made by Ketwa at that point in time, and it was, you know, going through different WhatsApp groups, and it was everywhere. I remember seeing that you were appealing for funds at that point in time. So you think uska bhi thoda success tha ki that also helped, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. तो आपको कितना estimate दिया था और finally कितने cost हो गए आपके?
Estimate दिया था 36 lakh
36 was only for the surgery,
for the surgery.
not the other costs.
That thereafter means जो भी केयर वगैरह है उसका मतलब हॉस्पिटल से डिस्चार्ज होने के बाद का भी जो भी है 8-10 lakhs तो हो गया कम से कम.
अच्छा.
नियर अबाउट 60-70 lakhs अब तक हो गया खर्चा.
This is so up to the first year post transplant. Totally आपने 60 to 70 lakhs किए हैं. और अभी आपके monthly cost कैसे है?
Monthly near about 50 जाता है.
50,000.
उसके ब्लड टेस्ट वगैरह मेडिसिन है. मेडिसिन नियर अबाउट 30,000. ये ब्लड टेस्ट होते हैं उसके, वो उसका 20,000 है. बाकी और बाकी के भी खर्चे होते हैं. इन बिटवीन सपोज शी गॉट इन्फेक्टेड, सो इंजेक्शंस के वगैरह है वो 35,000 फॉर 7 days के हो गए. तो इन बिटवीन जरा भी कुछ हो गया ऐसा तो इन्फेक्शन हो जाता है.
छोटी मोटी चीज के लिए बड़े खर्चे हो
मतलब
जाते हैं.
चालू है महीना के बाद थोड़ा कुछ तो होता है. देन सडनली एक्सपेंसेस इंक्रीजेस ऐसा हो जाता है.
तो मतलब एक फाइनेंशियल मतलब it's like you create a treasury, right, for the patient. You need a financial stability, solid
Yes,
financial
we
stability.
we all three are doing and we are doing all the expenses right now.
And now Shraddha has also started her own business and she is also independent. Shraddha, can you tell us about what you're doing?
Okay, so I'm doing professionally baking at home. So I've started from home, and I'm majorly into healthy baking. But
Healthy baking, okay.
but I've realized that people are not eating much of healthy stuff. So,
They don't want the healthy stuff.
yes. So
Okay,
that's why I'm into regular cakes and cupcakes as well.
okay. And what is your business called, Shraddha?
It's What's Baking.
What's Baking and your Instagram pages?
It's What's Baking by SJ.
Okay, I request audience members, everyone, to please also go to Shraddha's Instagram page, order her delicacies, and please do support her. But I'm not done with the questions. Meera ji, Sarita, what is your message to other transplant families? And
ट्रांसप्लांट कोई भी ट्रांसप्लांट करना तो फैमिली का सपोर्ट बहुत जरूरी है. ऑल फैमिली शुड बी टुगेदर. और बाकी का तुम्हारा फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन भी एकदम अच्छे होने चाहिए. फाइनेंशियली यू हैव टू मेक अरेंजमेंट. कम से कम 60-70 लाख अरेंजमेंट होना ही चाहिए फॉर द ट्रांसप्लांट. एंड मेन मेंटल प्रिपरेशन तुम्हारा मीन्स पॉजिटिविटी बहुत होनी चाहिए. ऐसे विल पावर, जो भी पेशेंट है उनका विल पावर स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, और बाकी जो फैमिली मेंबर है उनका भी विल पावर स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए. And regarding Shraddha, she has a very strong willpower. Because हम लोग भी थोड़ा डर जाते हैं, लेकिन she has very strong willpower.
ये हम फाइटर लोग ऐसे ही, हम फाइटर्स हैं ना, तो
Because sometimes मैं कभी-कभी एकदम इमोशनल हो जाती हूँ, लेकिन वो मुझे ये करती है कि नहीं मम्मी ऐसा नहीं, कुछ सब अच्छा हो जाएगा, वो खुद बोलती है ऐसा.
Meera ji,
really strong girl.
Meera ji, how did you care for yourself? And even you, Sarita, what did you all do for yourselves?
Looking at her, probably if her willpower, the person who's going through that is so strong, so we didn't have to even think back, because uska support humko tha, hamara nahi tha, ulta tha aisa.
Ulta hai.
I think that's what kept us going actually.
She's very strong actually.
Okay, that's amazing. Shraddha, I remember you had mentioned once to me that you wish that your pre-transplant counseling would have included a few more things. What were those things? What do you think hospitals, transplant centers should include going forward in the pre-transplant counseling?
Yeah, so especially the food restrictions, travel restrictions. Like they should tell that these are the foods you are not allowed to eat, or you cannot eat raw food. Then you cannot travel in public places. Then you cannot go outside for a year at least. Or whatever.
तो ये आपको बताया नहीं था पहले, and so you wish कि बताया होता तो थोड़ा mental preparation होता.
Yes. तो ये मुझे थोड़ा बहुत patient से जब बात किया तभी पता चला.
Okay.
Not from the hospital. So कभी-कभी ऐसे होता है कि डॉक्टर से डायरेक्टली आता है तो सच लगती है वो बातें.
Correct.
Not from the patients.
Correct.
Because हर एक patient का अलग-अलग experience होता है. So if it's coming directly from the doctors or the coordinators, it helps a lot.
It's more reassuring for you, right? There's more conviction in what the doctors are saying more than what the other patients are saying sometimes. Yes. Okay, so travel and food.
Regarding fruit also, we have not informed that not to eat the fruit because she likes fruit very much. So regarding fruit also there are restrictions not to eat. Only apple they have to boil. How that boiled apple.
And Shraddha misses eating her mangoes.
She likes mangoes only.
Okay, we'll figure out creative ways to eat fruits, cooking them creatively, and we'll figure that out soon. Thank you so much, Jadhav. Thank you all three of you. We've learned a lot from your family, and I really wish you all the best. See you on I want to wish you on your next transplant anniversary, and maybe the 10th, the 20th. I hope to keep doing that for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are now going to interview our third and final family. Hema, are you there? Hi, Hema.
Hi.
Okay, so this is Hemalata Rao. She's our firebrand warrior. She calls herself all kinds of things, but she is, one of the most fiercest people I know. She is 47 years old, lives in Bangalore, and she's here today with her husband Kirti. My God, what kind of support he's been. I know I've been through the family's personal journey, and I've been witness to that, and I know what kind of amazing support her husband has been. She's also here with her mother, and whose name is Sudha Murthy ji. Right? Yeah. She is not the Narayan Murthy Sudha Murthy, she's Hema Sudha Murthy.
Yeah.
Right. Kirti works in a MNC IT company, and Sudhaji used to, she was also a single mother for many years through Hema's childhood. She was working in LIC for many years, and coming to Hema was diagnosed with a PDA very early in her childhood. Hema, you went through a closure also, right?
Yes, at the age of 3.
At the age of 3, her PDA was closed, and over the years, Hema developed pulmonary hypertension, and unfortunately, she also has an autoimmune condition called Sjogren's disease, and which has actually complicated her management of pulmonary hypertension. Hema, you also developed neuropathy because of that?
Yes, peripheral neuropathy.
Yes. Okay, so Hema was recommended a heart-lung transplant 2 years ago, Hema, in 2019.
In 2019, yes.
2019, and she underwent a double lung and heart transplant in 2021, earlier this year, in fact, in February 2021.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you guys for coming here. Welcome to the family session. Let me start with my questions.
Yeah.
Okay, Hema.
Yeah.
Considering you had a congenital heart defect, a PDA, you always knew at the back of your head, or at some point a doctor must have mentioned this to you, that you may need a heart lung transplant or a lung transplant or a heart transplant at some point in time. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Since I had my PDA at the age of 3, and till I reached about 15 years old, till I was in school, I had no problems at all. But once I came to high school, say 8th or 9th standard, I started fainting while cycling uphill.
Okay.
So that's when first we thought it was epilepsy, and I was on epileptic drugs. But then my cardiologist said we might have to go for a, just not recheck, but they felt that something is wrong, and we came to Chennai, Dr. Cherian, who had done my PDA. And then there they said they confirmed that I had pulmonary hypertension, and that was in 95. And that's when they had told that only cure was heart lung transplant, but till then it can be managed with drugs.
So how many years did you have between the first time of some doctor mentioned heart lung transplant to your actually at the date of transplant?
That was in 1995. Now it is 2021. Yeah.
Correct. So a long time. So you guys were preparing, right? For
Yes,
it?
Yes.
You all knew that this was on the horizon sometime, unlike the other patients. Okay.
Yes.
Hema, in spite of all this preparation, when the final blow hit you, that you now have to go through a transplant, how did it feel? What were you going through at that point in time?
I was in such a stage that I was not able to manage 2 diseases together. Pulmonary hypertension as well as Sjogren's. Sjogren's affected my nerves, and even while you're seeing, I'm unable to speak properly, and my
You're doing fine today, Hema.
Yeah, but it's that affected me mentally also. With PH, I was not affected mentally. But with Sjogren's, and medicines that were given for Sjogren's was not accepted by the PH condition. Okay, so they clashed. They were contraindicated. Yeah, because I was on steroids, and that increased my palpitations. And then anyway, I was on Eisenmenger's, so there was shunting going on. So that was further. It had gone bad, and my NT-proBNP also had slightly gone up. And but otherwise, my heart was functioning extremely well. I had no problems with my heart. There was no failure or any such thing. And your lungs? Lungs also was okay. But that's the reason, doctors took a long time because they wanted to wait for good organs. Like I was not in that critical stage of, requiring the organs, but I had to go for it ultimately because autoimmune is such that you don't know when it will start affecting your lungs also. Right. Okay. So yeah, that's when, I was evaluated in 2017. That's when they said I don't require it. And so the first evaluation happened in 2017. Yes. Was it in Bangalore, or did you have to go to another place?
Chennai.
No, it was in Chennai.
They started to stop halfway through. After a few tests, they said it's not required right now. You need to earn your transplant. So let's not proceed further. Let's stop it halfway through. And
so they could delay it by another 3 years, in fact.
2 years. 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah. 2017 we stopped the process. 2019 they said we have to go through. Then we started listing in 2019.
But they had told us that we had to go and see them every year, just to
Okay.
check the progress.
Okay, so this is the first time I'm hearing something like this. The transplant team is telling you come back every year.
Yes.
Let us reevaluate you every year. See
Yes.
Yeah.
what. But this is a good thing. This is a good thing.
Actually, they said every 6 months, but we didn't go for 1.5 years.
Okay.
And I got a scolding. What is this?
Hema was wigging it. Okay, all right. Hema and Kirti, finally, I mean, so you all had already chosen your team, right? In 2017
Yes.
only. But
Yes.
did you talk to other teams before that?
We had, see, our local consultant in Bangalore suggested few options. We looked at the options. We did meet one team in Bangalore, and then, but they have not done it was 2017 or 2016 end, okay? They haven't done a successful lung transplant. They've done many heart transplant, but lung transplant, they've done one, which is also failure.
Okay.
It was 2016 end. Okay, so they said, see, this is the fact, but we have the skills and thing, but you have to take a choice right now. Then we decided, and then we had somebody from the PH family who was underwent with the same team of doctors in Chennai. Then we said, okay, we'll go check with this team, and then we went there. That's why we went to Chennai in 2017. And then from there, we just, went on with the same team, and they were, quite good. Whatever the references we got, we were able to talk to a couple people who have underwent. 2 people we spoke, one from the PH family, other was not directly from PH family, but then we got a good reference.
Okay.
said,
Okay. So
In fact, the transplant team only gave us another contact whom they had already operated on. They
Okay.
said, why don't you talk to the patient? And we spoke to them. They were also from Bangalore. So we
Okay.
spoke to them, and they gave very good outcome of the team, and they advised us very well.
okay. I must I must mention here that now things have changed in the last 2-3 years. Even Bangalore has good
Yeah.
teams now.
Yeah.
So-
now Bangalore has very good, 2-3 doctors are doing in Bangalore now.
Right. Okay. Hema, did you face any trouble in your last evaluation?
No, everything was fine, but my 6-minute walk test, I needed extra oxygen while walking.
Okay. How much oxygen were you anyways taking at home at that time?
Only during night times, not during the day.
2 liters.
2 liters. 6-minute walk test, they insist that I take oxygen and walk because they didn't want to get into any emergency. So 6-minute walk test, I had to take 13 liters.
Okay.
Yeah, but my walk test got delayed because of my neuropathy as well. Also added. And basically the cardiologist was not very happy that because she said that my heart was functioning well, but what happened was she was at the nurse's counter. So I walked about 10 meters to go ask her some question. And she saw me that I had completely turned blue. So that's when immediately she realized, no, I'll change my decision. You have to go for transplant. That's what she said.
Okay.
And moreover, what happened before going for the transplant the evaluation in Bangalore, I got another seizures.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's when the doctor said that we can't allow more seizures because that might lead to stroke. And after that, we cannot go for transplant or anything.
So these were actual seizures. They were not syncope episodes. They were seizures that were happening.
It was syncope cut off with a seizure mixed with the
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because of syncope.
Okay.
It can lead to stroke or a clot, then we cannot do anything. So this is the time we need to take. Otherwise, we can wait for some more time, but this is the time we need to wait.
And one more thing they said was, since I was stable and on the younger side, I was already 45, but they said currently I had no comorbidities like sugar or BP and all. So they said it's the right time to go for it, so you can recover soon.
Correct.
So that was one major. That's one which pushed me because, and moreover, they said if I go for a transplant, the immunosuppressants which they will be giving, that will be addressing my autoimmune problem as well.
Okay.
It's going to be the same medicine for both. So I thought, well, I'm good. If it's the same medicine, addressing both the problems, then I'll be rid of one problem and the other will be managed anyhow. So that made me accept the transplant process.
Okay. And was your move to Chennai from Bangalore to Chennai smooth?
Yeah, because we have plenty of relatives there and we don't have a language problem like others.
Yeah, sorry, we couldn't hear you, Hema. What were you saying? You had lots of relatives and friends
Yeah.
over there, so it was pretty
Yes.
smooth. Also,
Yeah.
distance-wise, it's very close.
Yeah,
I'm
very-
guessing you guys didn't have the language problems that Shraddha's
Yeah.
family and Millie's
Yeah.
family had, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Now
Okay.
all this problem.
Okay. All right. Hema, your post-transplant, as in after your transplant happened. No, first let me ask you. Yours was actually you took a long time to get the organs, right?
Yes.
You had to wait a relatively longer period. How
I
much
had
was
to
that?
wait 1.5 years.
1.5 years from the time of listing.
Yes.
So I just want to tell the audience here that, you know, it can be within a month, within a week, maybe at sometimes, and sometimes it can take a long time to just get the right organs for you, right? And you cannot rush this process. It has to take its own time. You have to get the perfect match for you. So families have to have that patience, right? So the family members who are invested in this whole process, who are your key caregivers, have to have the patience to be with that patient in that new city, if at all you are going to a new city, for as much time as is required. Okay, Hema, after your, now this is something that I know Kirti has a great experience and memory of this. After your transplant, you had major complications. Kirti, what
Yeah.
happened? Tell us.
She was awake from the her surgery got over at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock when they moved to ICU, she was off awake. The sedation didn't really kick her. She was already awake. She was able to see people around. When I saw her at 3 o'clock, and then next day they had taken her out of the ventilator, extubated from the ventilator on the second day. She was fine. Then her carbon dioxide was increasing. The retention of carbon dioxide in the lungs, that was increasing day by day. So she was coming on and off ventilator every other day. They removed her 24 hours again, they put her again. And then they found her there's something not correct. Then they had to do a CT. Again, a lot of challenges to do a CT in a big hospital where it's like a floating population is more. So they have to plan on a Sunday early morning, first patient to do a CT. After sanitizing the machine, everything. This is after the 5th day of the transplants. Tuesday
Okay.
transplant took place. Sunday they did a CT in the morning, and they found out there's a clot which is causing a problem, which is making the lung fold.
There was a clot behind my right lung and that was folding my lungs.
Okay.
Because of which the lungs were not inflating and I was not getting enough oxygen. And carbon dioxide level was increasing and I was totally kind of knocked out. I was sleeping all the time.
So then,
Were you talking though, or no?
Yeah,
I was on ventilator, so on and off she talks a bit, and then not because 3 times we put a ventilator on and off.
Okay.
It was okay. And on the Sunday morning they did this, and then they said 12 o'clock. I think we have 2 options. One, we can do open heart again, and then remove the clot. 2, we can do a tracheostomy, put one more dry, and then wait for it to dissolve.
Okay.
Right? Choice is yours. You take a call. He said, no, whatever the quicker recovery, go for that. Right? That was the decision we took. And he said, yeah, quicker recovery is again open it. It's just 45 minutes to 1 hour procedure. Entire process will take about 2.5 hours, and then she'll be back in ICU. So we went for that. So the first patient to do a open heart after the 5th day.
So
of the
you went for the open heart.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
The
so
second-
first patient in India to go for an open heart after 5 days of transplant.
wow. Okay, and technically this was your 3rd open heart, right? Your PDA first.
second open heart.
For my PDA, they did it from my back.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, and this obviously increased her ICU stay.
Yes.
Right?
She was in the ICU all through, and then we came back home directly. So
She never got out of the ICU, directly to
No.
home.
Yeah.
23 days we were in the hospital, all the days
Okay.
in ICU. But then the ICU equipments were not used after 10th or 12th day. Till 12th day they were using after second surgery she was on ventilator for a couple of more days. A lot of the injection machines, pumping machines, all they were running around. But she was on a BiPAP, NIV, what they call non-invasive ventilator. She was on that for all the days, on and off, 4 hours, 5 hours. Again, they removed for 1 hour break that way. But after second surgery, 3rd day, they made her sit on the sofa. Then 4th day, she started walking with the support of people. all that happened. Okay, but we supposed to come back home, I think around 18th day or something, or 17th day.
Okay.
She had an infection.
Okay.
She had infection, so they had to extend her stay again. Finally, 23rd day, we got her back home, but with the BiPAP support. In the ambulance, with the BiPAP support, she has to come. And she was sitting BiPAP almost 12 to 18 hours a day that time when we got her home.
Okay.
So
Okay. And Katie, what kind of home setup did you have for Hema Reddy? What all did you have to buy or invest in or rent?
We had a complete ICU setup at home, except the injection pumping machine. Everything else was there. We had ICU bed, monitor. We had the oxygen cylinders on standby, 2 cylinders, but she was needing oxygen also. That was there at home. All the other emergency medications, including IV set, everything. And then we had a critical care nurse, 2 nurses at home. So we had complete ICU setup, and I prepared the house such a way that, because I was staying in an apartment, when we moved in, that house was clean, no pigeons around. And then after a few months, we saw pigeons around. So we had this house with a old aluminum window. So there's a small gap, dust can come in, which can be very dangerous.
Okay.
I completely sealed all the windows with UPVC window, and then I made an ICU door, a glass door with UPVC. So her room is completely quarantined. Nobody can go inside unless the nurse want to go in. So we had ICU set up completely at home.
And do you still have the ICU setup, Hema, at home? No more.
Now it's only the elevated bed.
Okay.
She's still not put on weight what she was before.
Okay.
Till then, she will have some breathing discomfort. So they said you have to have elevation bed. So we bought only the back rise with the motorized one after 4 months. So she's still on that. Otherwise, it's normal bed. Everything is normal. The first 3 months is very crucial. So that time to come back to normalcy, to do her own thing, to go to bathroom, everything, I think it took almost 7 weeks.
7 weeks. And this is specific to Hema because of her autoimmune condition, right?
Yeah.
Because of neuropathy.
Neuropathy with autoimmunity. Correct.
I have balance issues. I tend to fall often. And I was not supposed to fall down. So that's the reason it took a while.
Otherwise, typically, the same team, people have gone, got back home 8th, 10th day. If it's only lung, it takes time, they say, but then heart and lung, typically 8th, 10th day or 2 weeks, they're back home. And I know a patient recently, the same team, 6 weeks, they've flown back in the aircraft from Chennai to Surat. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Hema, now you are going, unlike the other two, you actually went through rigorous physiotherapy, right? And probably you're still going through.
Yes.
Right. And is that something that you now know is very common with autoimmune patients, that they have to go through this? Yeah.
Yeah. Autoimmune patients with nerve issues.
Nerve issues, correct.
Nerve and muscle issues have to go through physio. Because I don't have stability and I have weakness in my legs and arms, and I have to keep exercising, otherwise they become weak. So this, I guess, I have to do lifelong. I don't know, but yes, physio session, and also we need a severe proper chest physio post-transplant and pre-transplant, because the more chest physio we do, less of infection, and it's early. It will be easy recovery.
Okay. So. Okay. Katie, can you tell me about your costs, the estimate given to you by the hospital, what you ended up paying for? And because you told us about the complications also that you had. So how was it with Hema, considering she had so many other comorbidities also?
2019, when we went for a evaluation, it was costing me about 4.4 lakhs, roughly about. And then they gave a quote of 45 to 50.
Again, this is for both heart and lung, right?
Yes.
Only lung transplants are likely to be much cheaper. At least the initial estimate is likely to be much cheaper, right?
I don't know that, because only lung is more recovery time is more ICU time than a heart and lung.
Okay.
It's quicker to recover from heart and lung rather than only lungs.
Okay.
That is more complicated.
Okay. But I guess where there's no requirement to get the heart out, they will not.
Yeah.
They will not.
Right.
We even asked the doctors, do we need to do both? They said, yeah, it's better because it's overworked already. The muscles are already weakened. So we cannot take a chance. We need to do that both. It's already enlarged, and then, RV can fail anytime. so we cannot take a chance. So that's how they said we have to do both heart and lung. And
So how much did you end up spending, Kirti?
Hospital bill alone came to around 70 lakhs because we were in ICU.
So the big hit
Yeah.
was from our extended ICU.
External ICU, the second surgery, all that. We had a
Correct,
choice-
surgery.
they had given a choice after the infection, couple of days or 4 days, we can move to the ward. The difference was not much between the ward and ICU, but the risk of ward is infection is more prone to infection.
And it was during the COVID period,
It
we
was
didn't
still
want to
COVID
take.
time, right? So we didn't want to take a chance for maybe another 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs I could have saved. But I didn't want to take a chance of getting into ICU in the critical stage again.
Correct, correct. And now what are her monthly costs like?
Monthly cost now, medicines will cost me about 20,000 rupees. And then the blood test is about 12 to 15,000 rupees, depends on what kind of variation comes in. Right. This is what is after the 6th month, or I can say 8th month, right? The initial period was very high. Initial period, we had to have 2 nurses, trained ICU trained nurses, which is again recommended by the hospital team. So the first month, I think the expense was coming close to about 7 lakhs.
Wow, okay, 7 lakhs first month, okay.
Yeah, first month, because she has to take one specific nebulization drug,
For antifungal.
antifungal drug. That was that itself in the discounted price I was getting for 5,000 rupees. Otherwise, it was 8,000 rupees. That's a
Okay,
per day medicine cost. Okay. And other problem Hema had is sluggish liver, which is a problem from beginning. So one of the antifungal drug what they give was not working for her. It was damaging her liver further. So we had to get an imported drug, which is 6 times expensive than the normal drug which everybody gets through. So with
and
all
were you
that-
able to procure these drugs easily in Chennai?
Yeah. Chennai is that way. You can get any drug. I was not stepping out anywhere from home. Over a phone call, I get all the medicines at home. And then nursing care who came, they're very trained people on this, so they have the contacts. Plus, I also have had some contacts. So through that, over the phone call, I get the medicines at home. No questions asked. I can even circulate after 1 or 2 days. Also, they don't chase you for the money. All that. So that was a very good setup. We had the ecosystem was very good in Chennai. We had.
Okay, okay. Kirti, were you able to pay for all this out of pocket, or were there family and friends who helped you?
Family and friends
Family.
supported, yeah. Her cousins, my cousins, plus some of my friends network,
My friends network.
her friends network, all helped. But yeah, majority we were able to manage within the family. Some help came from outside also.
Okay.
Other big expense we had was we had to lift the organ from Jaipur.
Jaipur. So
Yes,
We have to go a chartered flight. That was a big expense because it's a long distance. We had to cover in a short period. So we had to hire a A320 full-flown flight. Just carry the heart.
A320 dedicated to Hema.
Yes.
Right.
हनुमानजी घाट आहे ना संजीव पर्वता.
Right. Such a perfect analogy over here. Correct, correct.
And that was very expensive. That itself costed me 18 lakhs.
18 lakhs. Okay. So this is something we need to inform the audience that if you are choosing to procure organs from other states, this cost may apply to you purely because somebody has to go there, pick up the organs, bring it back. So it's a to and fro cost. These are what, air ambulances, Kirti?
No. They went by a normal commercial flight.
Okay.
Yeah, but the problem is because Jaipur, you don't have commercial flight directly to Chennai. You have to
Mhm.
hop up in Mumbai or in Hyderabad.
Okay.
And then the flight time was somewhere close to 4 hours.
Okay.
But the problem with the heart is you have to fix the heart within 6 hours
Hmm.
after you harvest. The
Right.
only option was you have to do a direct charter flight. But all the propeller aircraft are a bit cheaper, but then they take 4 hours to fly.
Okay.
Only
Okay.
option is you have to go for a full-blown A320, which covered in 2.5 hours. That's why it was expensive. Otherwise, I would manage it in 12 lakhs itself. So that's a big cost.
Okay. Okay.
And I could have said no also to this, but the problem is Hema's very tiny build, right? So the lens has to match the size. And we waited for 1.5 years. It's a COVID time. The doctor said, why don't you take a chance and do? Because we waited for long and the organ is good. Then we got 5 calls before this organ. All of them, either they're not good or we didn't get allocation correctly. Because sometimes heart will be taken by the hospital where they were donating. See, the organ priority is this way. Whichever hospital the organ is getting donated from, if somebody is waiting in the hospital, they get a first priority.
Yes.
And the next priority goes to the same city then same state, then goes to the national level. That's the hierarchy. Okay. So 2 places where we got the organ, the heart is taken by the same hospital. So we cannot get it. That's Chennai, both Chennai, but we cannot take it. Other organs were rejected for us because they said no, already has some secretions, so let's not take a chance, because it was stable. So it was not a very critical stage where we had to go within short period, right? So they waited, they rejected 3 organs, and finally this organ, they said, okay, it's a good organ, let's pick it up, let's not waste it, let's pick it up and go. So that's why we have to go for that thing. Otherwise, if you do somewhere within south or within that 1 hour flying time, it will be about 6 to 8 lakhs. Okay, it will not be 18 lakhs.
Okay, okay.
Cover.
It's a vast difference then.
That's what
Right. Right. And speaking of Jaipur, now this is very, again, specific to Hema. Organ recipients have no clue who the donor is. But in case of Hema, it was making headlines. The organ donor's death was making headlines. All of us also got to know about it. And I don't want to mention who it is, but it was someone from Jaipur. And Hema, how did you feel when you heard about this, when you read about your organ donor? What was your reaction to that?
Like it was all of a sudden, so I didn't know what to think, or I mean, I went blank. I just said, okay, something is happening, let it happen. And I was, at one point I was happy I got organs, but of course you have that in child or whoever. But then I didn't think too much, because during these times you should not think too much. It will affect your body again. So I just thought, okay, God has given me this opportunity, and some Messiah has given me the organs. I just try to safeguard it as much as possible. That's all.
That's an excellent attitude to that. Yes, because often we forget that somebody has to die for you to get those organs, especially hearts and lungs, and those can be extremely traumatic deaths as well, especially for those families. And there's a good reason why this is kept a secret, or not shared with the organ recipients. But in Hema's case, she did get to know of it. In fact, all of us got to know of it. And we really, in fact, so much respect and love to all the organ donors, for Millie, for Shraddha, for you, for all my other friends as well, and for the families. We know the sacrifice your families have made for us. I want to ask a question to your mom, Hema. Sudhaji, how has your life changed with Hema's care? I heard so many things about what you do in the kitchen, in the house. Can you give us a few examples?
The only goal is that I have to become all right. That was the only goal for her. So that
right. And Hema is your only child, right?
Yes.
So, like Millie and
she says, every time we go to doctor and see, so
we were used to it. Mom was used to it at all. We were used to.
I think parents of children with congenital heart diseases are kind of, well trained. Well trained, and they're ready mentally also. They're in some way ready for the worst, and then how to work out through that situation, and then also turn up winners in that as well. And I also hear, Sudhaji, you're extremely busy in the kitchens because you use extra measures for Hema. So what are your extra measures in the kitchen beyond what the doctors have recommended?
First I pray God. First
she prays God before cooking.
Yes.
Praise to God before cooking, okay.
And second is she sterilizes everything. They had bought a set of vessels for me in the kitchen. For only my cooking, for only my separate cooker for me, separate, plates, spoons, all cutleries separately for me, kadai, everything. So their cooking they were doing. His brother had come to help us. So his brother was cooking for rest of them, and mom was cooking only for me.
So before cooking, the thing what they told is we have to give a fresh food within 1 hour after cooking. Okay, you should not drink all that. So the schedule was like this: morning she gets up at 6 o'clock, sterilize all the vessels. First breakfast at 8 o'clock, then 11 o'clock soup, and then 2 o'clock lunch, 1:32 lunch, again 5 o'clock some snacks, again night dinner. Okay, so this was the routine. Every time you have to sterilize the vessel, wash, and we were not giving it to any maid to take care of her.
Herself, she does it herself. And she's
Yeah,
what,
madam,
69
madam.
years old? 68,
Yeah.
69 years old, right?
Yeah.
And then my brother was there to take care of our cooking. Okay, because we had a nurse at home, we had to feed for the nurse. Right, so my brother was taking care of all the vegetable cutting, vegetable vessels cleaning, all that support. Immediately after, within 3 weeks, my brother came in. After we reached home, within 2 weeks he came. He was with us for 6 months till we moved back to Bangalore.
So extra family member came in and helped out
Yeah.
with those
So we were
things.
managing in that way, and then
Okay.
we are very strict. They have a cold or cough, they go out of station. We are quarantining them for 14 days. Then only they can come inside. And
Okay.
then her room only, I was making sure go inside for cleaning the room. No maids are allowed. Even today, I don't allow any maid. This one finished the
Okay.
1 year period.
You all have no house help in the
No, we have, but not for her room. Her room
not
is-
for her room. So who does all the cleaning for her room?
I do it even today.
You
Yes.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't allow anybody to come inside. Okay, the frequency is reduced now. Earlier we were doing it every day. Now we do every second day. Things like that. But others, I take care of complete cleaning. I want to ensure the 1 year is a crucial period to protect from any infection because we already had one in ICU. I
Yes.
don't have one more again. So,
And so Kirti, you're doing all this besides your everyday job as well, right?
luckily, my company helps me with flexi hours. So
Okay.
I do
It's
work
very
late.
important for organizations also to help out, to be flexible with you.
I do work late. I do work late in the night till 12:31. That's my routine.
Okay.
I do take balance hours between family and work.
Okay. Okay. Hema, I recently heard that you took up a job. So what is it?
Yeah, I have taken a job as a technical writer. It's kind of a business analyst role. As a consultant for a short period, I just want to try my hand. And this is with a company called in Bangalore locally, and I can work from home.
Okay.
So very flexible, and they know about my condition. So they said it's okay. You don't have to stress too much. You can work for how much ever time you want.
Okay. I have to mention that before the transplant, also for many years, Hema was working in the software industry. Then she started her own HR placement agency, right, Hema?
Yeah.
And for a few years, she wasn't able to work full time. And now within the 1 year of a transplant, she is back to working. And so I have been asking questions about complications post-transplant, but it has to be balanced out. There are,
Yeah.
she's now doing a job. She's helping out other patients as well. I am personally witness to that. She motivates other people. Her videos have gone viral. You all should see her videos motivating other patients and families. And I think, thank you so much for being here today, but don't go because we are just going to open the audience questions. Thank you, Kirti. Thank you, Sudhaji.
Thank you.
But we'll take a few.
One thing I would like to say is if people are going, the patient who is going for transplant has to have very good muscles. So it's very important to eat a lot of proteins that I was told even before the transplant.
Okay.
So I am a vegetarian, but I started eating eggs even before the transplant. And
how many eggs do you eat every day, Hema?
I was taking about 6 eggs. Now it has come down to 3 eggs, but sometimes it is 5 eggs. It depends.
Only egg white.
Amazing.
Egg white. Yeah.
Egg whites, amazing, amazing,
And
very good.
I lost a lot of weight, so I have been told to eat anything to put on weight. So I'm just binging on food.
Yeah, she's a foodie, so she.
One of the odd benefits of a transplant, is it?
Yes.
Binging on any food.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to open for Q&A, for a quick Q&A, audience. So if you have questions, and I'm also going to spotlight Shraddha's family and Millie's family now. Millie, are you there? Yeah, she's yes. Millie and Shraddha, you all can unmute yourselves. Do we have any audience questions, or have I asked pretty much everything?
I have one question, maybe not to the patient itself, but it's a very
Who is
good
this?
question.
Please introduce yourself.
I am Rajesh Patel, Rashmi's brother.
Okay,
she could
hi,
not join
Rajesh.
today. Yeah, so I joined in her place. And my question is rather to the forum rather than, because most of the transplant are taking place in southern India. So like you have to take heart from Jaipur or from other places. That is one issue which probably, I don't know whether something has come up in Northern India as well. That is one front where we can update the patients. Probably as far as I know, in Delhi, AIIMS, some time back, the Chennai team had come to train people to do these transplant in Delhi, in AIIMS Delhi. But I'm not sure whether something has come up on that front as well. So that is one question. Second was the waiting time, which has been already answered by 3 people in variety of timings, like from 2 weeks to 1.5 years. It may range any time. So
Yes.
that is one. And then I had one more question, that what medications these patients were taking, because Iloprost Millie told, and then I'm not aware about Shraddha, because medications decide when they are coming to their peak and we are due for transplant. So if we can help patient identify that what medicine is doing good up to what limit, means what pressures, what oxygen levels, these may help us decide when we are maybe requiring this transplant and it is the right time for us to go. And another thing is this weight is another issue, whether too much weight or too less weight, both are a concern. Other than this pre-assessment work, there are few more things. I think teeth and cancer and few other things which are evaluated. Those things can also be shared for the benefit of other patients. So this is all from me.
Yeah, Mr. Patel, if I could answer a couple of them and then I'll ask the panelists to answer. Yes, there was something that we heard, that there was something that was coming up in AIIMS, but we haven't heard from that team in a long time. So we don't know what has happened. Maybe COVID has delayed them. I have no idea. New transplant programs have come all over the country, but in today's session, we are not going to be mentioning any hospital or doctor's names. We will connect privately and we can share some details with you. But unfortunately, North India lung transplant specifically have not taken off yet. Nothing that we have heard of in a big way, because transplant teams actually have good PR teams who actually put out news, and that's how we get to know. And I encourage them to do that, because that is how we feed on that information. But I haven't seen anything. None of us have seen it. Secondly, your question on Iloprost. Now, Iloprost generally in the countries where it was widely used was never used as a life-saving medication. It was a first-in-line treatment, amongst the first-in-line treatments. Unfortunately, in India, because of the price of Iloprost, and also it's not easily available, you have to import it. Because of the price of Iloprost, it is used for very critical patients, such as Millie, where it has an impact, but it's not something that you can rely on for a very long time. I don't think so. A doctor will be able to, probably give you a better understanding of this. It will probably help you to stabilize for a few months, weeks, depending on the patient's condition. So I don't think Iloprost is necessarily the life-saving medication or anything like that. What was your third thing? Yeah, on nutrition and the weight and all of those aspects, we are actually going to float a document very soon about how to prep for lung transplants. This is specifically made for pulmonary hypertension and pulmonary fibrosis patients. And we have covered pretty much everything. I think I've shared the document with all the 3 warriors here, transplant warriors. We have taken inputs from many other transplant warriors, lung transplant warriors, and we will share that, because those have all the contraindications, weight, cutoffs, this and that. And I hope that document helps all the patients. Guys, you want to add to anything else to this? Hema, Millie, Shraddha.
Yeah, regarding the transplant need, when it is necessary, it depends on how your heart is functioning. Once they find out that heart is failing, then they will immediately tell you that you might have to go for transplant. So that is the main thing. So keep checking your heart functioning as regularly as possible. And regarding the evaluation, they do everything. During evaluation, they evaluate for everything. Dental, they evaluate for cancer, they evaluate for everything. They check from head to toe, so that they don't get any surprises during the surgery. But yet they are surprised sometimes, because everything can't be, once they open, that's what the doctors say. We can't say anything till we open up and see. So whatever the info you have, finally there might be surprises or it might go smooth. Depends on it's case wise.
Right. Are there any other questions?
Shalaka, can I ask something, please?
Yes,
This is
please.
Rashmi.
Yeah, Rashmi. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Shalaka, I want to ask all the three warriors about, their mental state. It's a very long time in isolation, not meeting people. And we are social animals, after a certain time, we do want to meet. And you are just restricted to seeing either one face or, not seeing people at all. And, binge watching, reading gets just too much after a time. So how do you deal with this situation? I mean, how do you go about this?
I see COVID has taught a lot of lessons, I guess. Now people are used to staying at home and interacting over social media, and luckily we have social media in our times. So we are not isolated as per se, like physically we are isolated, but mentally we are not. But as soon after transplant, there's a lot of ups and downs. In fact, it's a total roller coaster ride because of the medications. We get into severe depressions. I was very angry after the transplant because they have put on the oxygen tube. I said, why the hell are you putting on the oxygen? I came here to get rid of it. Then they said, no, you have, because my heart and lungs were used to. So the doctor said, you're forgetting to breathe. You should breathe. They used to tell me. That's when I used to, gulp in air. So the medicines are quite tough on you, but we will be shown a psychiatrist, or we can ask for a psychiatrist for counseling, and they can also prescribe you some drugs. But yes, mentally, there is a lot of desolation and depression and all that, but you'll come over it. Once, I mean, now that you've faced the maximum, you get much stronger day by day mentally. So nothing to worry.
Millie, I remember you mentioning hallucinations, right? Can you talk about that?
So it was, I guess, the second day when I was awake, and I don't exactly remember what it was, but I was hallucinating, and I told my mom. She was the first one to know. I tried telling her in gestures that I can see something, I can see people talking to me, and she was like, but you were alone, there was no one there. So then we got, she told the transplant team, and they were like, no, it's okay, it's pretty normal. It's because of the injections, it's because of the anesthesia sometimes. Yeah, so it was basically the sedation that had a psychological impact, and I was like hallucinating. But they say that it's pretty normal in such a condition, so that's nothing to really worry about.
Okay, but both you, Millie and Shraddha, you also went through difficult times, depression, and
for me it was difficult to sit at home.
You wanted to just get out.
Yes, but for first few months you are like totally you're taking medicines and everything, so the time just goes. And after 6-7 months, it's like you can go out in your own car with not many people around you. I mean, with only your family up with you. Okay. So just a long drive kind of a thing.
Sometimes it gets very tedious, like you have to keep your medicine routine on track. You have to eat on time. So, even on a Sunday, I'm like, okay, I can sleep. No, you cannot, because it's your medicine time. Get up.
You have to, yeah. So the tediousness of the day, plus now because of COVID, you anyways have to stay at home, and unable to. I think, Millie, you also go out and drive, right, with your teddy bears?
Yes. Every Sunday or a Saturday evening, we go out on a drive. I take them to Sea Link or Worli, whatever. We don't get out of the car.
Okay.
But you and I drive around and then come back.
Okay. Hema, you too?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the car.
Isolation is basically required to cater with this environment pollution.
Yeah.
See, any of the city of where we are staying, like Bombay or Hyderabad or Chennai or any place where the pollution is there, so the pollution will affect the lungs and heart the maximum. So that is the why doctor says you should be isolated for few months to your organs to get strength to sustain the pollution. Nothing more.
Right. And especially in cities like Bombay, even Bangalore, very polluted outside. Yes.
It's advisable to bring an air purifier at home or in the car. So if you really want to go out, then you can.
Do all three of you all have air purifiers in your room?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the
We have
LCV
it in the
bike now.
car also. We've got one for the car.
I
Hema,
don't
you
have one.
don't?
No,
I don't have.
Okay, okay.
So maybe it depends on the where we are staying. See,
Yes.
if in Bombay, if we stay near the Chambul, we should have. It is like that.
Right, right. Rashmi, does that answer your question? It was a long answer.
Absolutely. Thank you, warriors. It's very, very enlightening. Thank you, guys.
About
Thank
that,
you.
Mr. Patel on the Ilocros. Ilocros is just a support. This cannot be used as a drug for a long time. That was this idea given to us by the doctor who has prescribed us.
And it had bad side effects.
It has a very bad side effects. So Ilocros is not a solution to the pH, but it can, with that we can prolong the intensity of the seriousness for the transplant.
Correct. Also, when you're taking these advanced medications in an advanced state of the disease, the side effects are, the impact is much higher
Very high,
for
very
the
high,
patient
very high,
to deal
very
with.
high.
Yeah, it's very difficult for the patient to deal with these advanced medications when introduced at a late stage.
Yeah.
Much before, 2-3 years before also, it would have made a bigger difference and you would have been able to handle it
Correct.
slightly better. Okay.
What now we heard that the Ilocros is now available in India, but it has some different name or something. But still, doctors, they are not prescribing it because it is not yet totally approved.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Are there any questions? Any other questions from the audience? I think we covered so many things.
I have a question. Can I go ahead?
Yes, Neetu, please go ahead.
First of all, kudos to Hemlata, Shraddha, and Millie, not only for the transplant, but how wonderfully they are managing the Japanese. So, a question specific to three of you. I understand that journey is not easy. And after the transplant, like Hema said, that she did not wanted that oxygen tube because she came, to get that oxygen tube out. So I understand that immediately after the transplant, first few months are very, very difficult and they might be very challenging if you compare it to your before transplant months.
Correct.
So what kept all three of you going? Because that is the time where, you need to show your strength, your perseverance, and a lot of things actually are required to undergo that journey. So what kept all three of you going?
Millie,
Millie, what kept you going after the transplant?
So basically, after the rejection scare, there was just one thing that I want to stay alive. That's it. Like, I want to be good. I have to be good. The one thing that I had was I want to graduate. So I had that on, in the back of my mind that I haven't graduated yet. I want to graduate. I want to do this. Secondly, it was, I guess, my positivity that, okay, I need to keep going. I need to keep going for my parents. They've done so much for me. And then, I started painting again to, because I was in the hospital for 45 days. It was not very easy. So my parents had got all my color pencils and my drawings, like papers and everything sanitized and fumigated. So I can, do everything sitting there in the hospital in the ICU. I used to color. They used to allow me to talk to my friends. So that is what I guess, that was one thing that, okay, I need to keep going. This cannot stop here. Yeah.
Okay. Hema or Shraddha, you want to answer that for Neetu?
Shraddha, go ahead.
Like I was like free from oxygen, तो वही बहुत बड़ा था मेरे लिए. And the life before the transplant, it was difficult. I mean, जो February 2020 से लेके December 2020 तक का जो period था, that was really very difficult. So coming out of it was really very, I mean, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा था. So that was the thing that kept me like, चलो अब सब ठीक हो गया.
For me, walking short, I was able to walk, but it used to give me a lot of chest pains, and I used to go blue. And it was quite difficult. I added to that my neuropathic pain and all those things. But post-transplant, like now I can walk 2 kilometers and I can climb stairs without any problems. And when I see my oximeter, I'm really quite happy. It shows 100%. And secondly, I have a lot of energy. Earlier, I never used to have energy even to think about a new task, or if somebody called me on the phone, or I would never have the energy to speak to them. Now I myself, I'm calling everybody. I call up my aunts, uncles. I demand different kinds of food from them. They sanitize in their house and they prepare and send it. Basically, I have a royal life.
I would like to add here, like, when we had, like, so personally for me, when I had PAH, it was like I had to literally like plan out things. Okay, on this day I have to go out with my friends. So there was a lot of pre-planning required, but now it's like, okay, let's go out. Yeah, let's go out. There's no restrictions like, okay, I need to, for 2 days I need to calm myself that, okay, Millie, you have to go out on Thursday. So from Tuesday you will be, you will prepare small things. But now it's not like that. It's good.
For mental freedom hai now too.
Yes.
Even though physically you're not able to get out, but at least the mental freedom to choose what you want to do on any particular day.
One thing I want to add here is,
yeah, Kirti.
Gemma's case was a bit complicated, the recovery period, right? To go to the bathroom by herself, it took almost 1.5 months. Okay, and she was completely on the bed. Okay, she will be able to walk with the minimal support, holding somebody with the 2 nurses, but still, other than that, nothing more. Okay, and with that kind of condition, coming out is not easy. And then one thing I have to thank my doctors. They very clearly told, even before, people may take recovery time 3 months, some can come back in 8 days, some can come in 10 days, but up to 1 year, there will be a roller coaster ride for you. Okay, first 3 months is crucial. Okay, you will have a lot of ups and downs, but this is all very normal. And every time we call up, we talk to the doctors, they say, yeah, it's okay, that's normal, you'll come out of this, that kind of a thing. And even before, when we going to the transplant, even in Bangalore, our consultant we've been seeing some cardiologists, pulmonologists, they all kind of give a thumbs up. They said, yeah, go ahead, it's the right time, you should go now. Right? We've been consulting them for 20 years. They say, yeah, it's the right time, you should go. So they will be managing her for years together.
30 years.
30 years. Pulmonologist knew 10 years, but he said, yeah, it's the time you go try this, it can give you quality of life. That was the main motto for us. Your quality of life will change, but initially there will be restrictions. Okay, there will be restrictions even after that also, right? But when you weigh between your struggle versus quality of life, that will be better. There will be limitations. We have to agree that you will not be able to go to, let's say, to Dasara festival, with lakhs of people standing around there. You cannot go to Kumbh Mela in your life after transplant. Trust me, those are practical things. But look at day-to-day life, like simple things. You can climb up stairs. You don't need to plan things. So you have to balance between the two. What do you want to do? You want to do this or you want to do that? And the 3 months roller coaster ride was supported very well with the kind of support system we had, right? They had given a home care nurse who are trying to manage these kind of conditions, right? And that helped us a lot to go through this.
Because those nurses very well know the mental trauma of the patients. So they know how to take care of us. And one more thing is, there are people, like, I know a person who had heart lung transplant and is a police inspector. He is a traffic inspector. So he is in the traffic even now. It's been 7 years, I think, since he has had. And he was affected
5 years.
5 years. And he was affected by COVID also.
Last
year he had COVID. So there are people like that. Even now he stands in the traffic and he's taking care of himself there.
Wow, we need to meet him and interview him about what happened with him. Yeah.
One more boy, I think 25, 26 years old. And he's back into working style, full-time in office, pre-COVID. And he even went to, Shimla, that kind of places. Did a hiking and
skydiving and all he did.
Oh, wow. So let me ask all 3 of you, when everything opens up, you are stable enough to get out, good enough to get out, what do you all want to do? Wildest dream is what?
Somewhere. I first want to travel somewhere.
Where do you want to travel, Shraddha?
Himachal or Rajasthan.
Okay, wow. I hope we can go trekking there, especially in Himachal Pradesh. I have heard of a lot of patients coming back from Himachal Pradesh being diagnosed with PH. So this is a reverse situation. Transplant ke baad Himachal Pradesh jao. What about you, Millie?
I want to start a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In your hotel management, this or anything else?
Probably that is. I'm so sorry. It's my medicine time.
No problem. Take it, please. And Hema, what do you want to do? What's your wildest dream? Because we are going to close on this. What's your wildest dream now?
I want to travel the entire world. Firstly, and secondly, I want to be a lot of support, mentally support people who want to further go ahead with such things.
Okay.
People need a mental support. So we would like to counsel, or we are open for counseling and happy to help in any small possible way.
Okay, so on that note, in fact, I would say that anyone who's watching this, please get in touch with us with Pulmonary Hypertension India. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also, my number is 9819368005. Please note it down. And you can get in touch with me on WhatsApp, and I will put you in touch with Shraddha, Millie, Hema, and you can talk to them. There's also a good lung transplant group on WhatsApp that these girls are part of. They motivate each other over there. And if your doctor has prescribed a lung transplant to you, we could get you added there, right, Millie?
Yes.
You're one of the admins there, right? So, and that would be a very helpful. Okay, that would be a very helpful forum for you guys. Plus, we are there. If it's only pulmonary hypertension, we will also support you in whichever way we can. We will motivate you. I actually found Millie a little later after her transplant, 1 year post her transplant, I think. I found Shraddha just before her transplant, and I've been friends with Hema for now 5-6 years. So, and I actually saw her journey through the last few years. I thank all families for being here today. Thank you, audience, as well. Unfortunately, we couldn't go live on Facebook, but we'll try to rectify that situation immediately. Yes, Hema, you want to say something?
No, I think somebody wanted to ask a question.
Yes, who wants to ask? Is there
Yeah,
an
that was me.
Very close?
Patil here.
Yes, Dr. Patil, go ahead.
Actually, I wanted to ask, like all three had relocated for the transplant, right? So how are they maintaining their follow-ups when they are back to their original hometowns?
It's an excellent question.
Yeah, so we have a team in Mumbai hospital. So we do a follow-up there, and we also have a WhatsApp group. So if we have any complications, we put in the group. And most of the things are resolved over the call itself. And anything major, then we need to visit the hospital and show them.
Visit the hospital in Bombay?
Yeah.
In Mumbai, okay. Same thing for you, Millie?
Yes, we basically do everything on WhatsApp. And so there are a few readings that we need to send, like send your oxygen readings or send your COPD readings, how well your lungs are functioning. If that is in place, then we don't really need to, go and visit the hospital. Do blood tests on time. So that is something that keeps the doctors informed that, okay, fine, you're fine. You don't really need to come and visit us.
Right. And you, Hema?
Even I have a WhatsApp group where Chennai doctors as well as my Bangalore pulmonologists are in the group. And as she said, I have to send my blood test readings and all through WhatsApp. And anything extra I have to contact here. Like I had to have my zoledronic acid infusion, and I had to have my COVID vaccine, second dosage of COVID vaccine. So for that, it was arranged here in Bangalore, and they did a pretty good job because they allocated the first slot in that day, and they had sanitized the entire room for me and did not allow anybody. They did a good job.
Okay, so if you have any emergency, you have your Bangalore doctors to rely on.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to rush to Chennai. You don't have to do any of those things.
That means what given to us is whatever you can manage on the phone, you can manage. Otherwise, you have to rush to your local consultant immediately. He will be first point of contact.
Okay.
So the local consultant takes over now after you move in here, and then they will consult with the transplant team in case of anything required. Otherwise, any basic things like general physician you're going through, a specialist, right? That model. So local Bangalore pulmonologist will take care of. He'll be a primary consultant right now. The transplant team supports whatever support required. Right? The only thing is we still meet once a month with the transplant physician to just check the parameters, everything going okay, check on the medications, alterations, all that. Once a month, that's advised up to 1 year.
Okay. So technology is a big boon here.
Yeah.
And guys, all of you are vaccinated, right?
Yes. And
Okay.
one more thing I would like to add is after transplant, we tend to lose our hair. There's a lot of hair fall, and because of steroids, we get beards and mustaches and all those things. So don't get worried. There might be changes for ladies. There might be changes in the menstrual cycle.
Yes.
Because I got my menstruation after 8 months of transplant, and so all those changes will be there. And hair will fall in patches, so you don't have to worry because that happens. And once you start accepting the new organs and you're going good, so that's all common and normal. So you don't have to worry anything about that.
So the big takeaway is no matter what the complications all three of y'all went through, it got over it. Y'all you passed the test.
Yes.
Small things will keep happening, but you don't have to worry about them. Don't be scared of them.
Yeah.
Accept life, with those few limitations. Find creative ways to lead your life normally. And with that note, I thank all of you and everyone. And I think we really have to close. We are past 2 hours now. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Salaka. Wonderful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Salaka ji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.